Hello folks, been a while since I put up a video, but I've got a lot of big orders coming up. Really haven't had time to work on videos. Already been busy today. Summertime heat's trying to get here when it really shouldn't, and it's hot. Today, last video, you can tell I don't script these. The last video I did, I think it was the last video, I forged a broken back Seax for a client, and that was a Seax of a kind that's often found in England, more of an Anglo-Saxon type Seax. Well, today we're going to forge one that's more of a Norse type Seax. It's not going to have quite as much of a severe broken back. I'm going to try to get the blade roughly around 6 inches again, fuller on one side, and we're going to be using a piece of, what is this, 8670. It's good spring steel. Again, this is for a client, actually for the same one that ordered the last one. We're going to shoot for about 6 inches in the blade. It's going to have a tang inside a wood handle when we're done with it. This steel is 1.5 inches wide, so the first thing we're going to do is go to the power hammer and draw this down and make it a little bit narrower, which in turn is going to stretch it out longer. It's really too wide for the type of blade I want to make, but let's get it hot and see what happens. Now, as I said, we're going to start out by drawing this piece of stock down a little more narrow. And of course, as we draw it down in width, it's increasing the thickness, so we'll have to work that out too. This stock was already 1/4 inch thick, and that's a little on the thick side. I'm looking for a blade about 6 inches long, and I'll need enough steel to make the tang too. Okay, let's draw a little bit of this thickness back out. That adds to the length. Need a little more for the tang. Draw it back one more time for the thickness. I believe that's going to be pretty good. Yep, that'll do for that. Let's go to the anvil. All right, what I'm going to do is mark the handle to blade transition, or the tang to blade transition. And once I've got it marked, we'll go back to the power hammer. I know I'm using the power hammer more than I usually do, but I'm kind of pressed for time, so I've got to do what I've got to do. And now I'm just going to work in part of the tang. I'm not going to finish it off yet. Just going to start it. Nope, got it twisted. Have to fix that. There we go, that's better. Now let's warm it up and cut it off. Draw the tang out just a little bit. Want to leave plenty of meat in the tang at this point, because I'm going to have to hammer that backward curve into the blade, and if the tang's too thin, it's just going to bend the tang. I won't be able to bend the blade the way I want to. Even things out a little bit, and back to the anvil. If you can hear the dog barking in the background, just ignore him. We've got a visitor, and he's a little bit of an idiot. That's not going to do. Okay, we'll try that. So just going to even out the blade a little bit. Draw down a little more angle onto the point. Even it up. Make sure everything's nice and straight and even. We've already got some distal taper started in it, so I'm not worried about that. Did use the power hammer to even things up there a second ago. And we'll go ahead by putting our reverse curve into the blade. And we'll start hammering in the bevels. We'll draw down the heel first. For some reason it's giving me a little bit of a problem getting the heel drawn down to exactly where I want it. We'll get it. That's looking a little better. There we go. That heel evened up. And we'll go ahead and start drawing the bevel out. And as always, hammering in those bevels, pinching it between the hammer and the anvil, spreads the steel, which pushes the spine of the blade back out straight. We'll just work out toward the tip. 1 inch, 2 inches at a time. No need to be in a hurry. Take your time. When you make mistakes, make small mistakes. Now this blade's going to be pretty much fully polished, so I've got to leave it pretty thick. And that's okay. You can really see how much hammering in the bevels to straighten that spine out. Clean it up. About one more time will do it as far as the bevels go, I do believe. There we go. Now I'm hammering that edge down so you can see how the spine drops toward the point. And that's typical of this style of Seax. By the way, the word Seax just means knife. But today it's taken to mean that particular style of knife. We'll go back to the power hammer and work our tang in. Now that tang needs to taper both ways. Needs to taper in width and taper in thickness. The thickest part of this blade and the thickest part of the tang should be right where they join together. There we go. Pretty good. Now I'm going to hammer a fuller into it. It's by heating the blade, and I'm just using a piece of flat stock. I could do this on the anvil, but who's got time for that right now? Pretty good. I think I'll give it one more pass. Okay, folks. There she is. Don't know if I'm going to grind that fuller and clean it up, or I may just polish the blade and leave the fuller dark. Oh well, one way or the other. Anyway, I'm going to clean this blade up, put a good satin polish on it. Going to etch the new owner's name in it in Elder Futhark runes. Maybe do some creative etching on there. I don't know, a dragon or something. Anyway, clean the profile up just a little on the grinder. It really didn't need much. Left the edge kind of thick because it's going to take do quite a bit of grinding on this blade. I'm going to put her back in the fire, anneal it, put it in the vermiculite to anneal overnight, and that's pretty much all I can do on it today. Anyway, if you're still watching, thank you very much for watching. It's very much appreciated. Be sure and hit that subscribe button, click the bell so you get notifications when we put out new content. And a couple of weeks ago, had some person come on the comments and talk about how, oh yeah, you got a big fancy power hammer. Hey dude, go back and watch my previous videos and look at how much hand hammering I do. Yeah, I use the power hammer. That's what I bought it for. But other than that, I do a lot of hand hammer work. Anyway, thank y'all for watching. God bless and have a great day.